Scene 3, Part 1 of Julius Caesar. Now, when we left off in Scene 2, we know that Cassius is maybe a little upset with Brutus, and Brutus is for sure upset with Cassius, and they begin to argue in front of their soldiers. And Brutus wisely says, "Let's not do this in front of everyone. Why don't we take this into the tent?" Well, this is the tent. This is what when they will begin to discuss the issues that they've been having with one another. So let's see how that goes.
That you have warned me to appear in this. You have condemned and noted Lucius Pella for taking bribes here of the Sardians, wherein my ladders praying on his side, because I knew the man was slighted off.
You wronged yourself to write in such a case.
In such a time as this, it is not meet that every nice offense should bear his comment.
Let me tell you, Cassius, you yourself are much condemned to have an itching palm, to sell and mart your officers for gold to undeservers.
I, an itching palm. You know that you are Brutus that speaks this, or by the gods, this speech were else your last.
The name of Cassius honors this corruption, and chastisement doth therefore hide his head.
Chastisement?
Remember, March. The Ides of March, remember. Did not great Julius bleed for justice' sake? What villain touched his body that did stab, and not for justice? What shall one of us that struck the foremost man of all this world, but for supporting robbers, shall we now contaminate our fingers with base bribes, and sell the mighty space of our large honors for so much trash as may be grasped thus? I had rather be a dog and bay the moon than such a Roman.
Okay, so here's what's going on if you're already confused, and I can understand if you are because they speak really fast right here. But basically, Cassius enters the tent and he is very upset with Brutus because Brutus had someone killed, Lucius Pella, because he was taking bribes. Cassius had written letters to Brutus and said, he's innocent, you don't need to condemn him. In a time like this, we need to overlook some offenses. And Brutus says, it was wrong for you to take up for him when he was doing something that was clearly unethical. Now, Brutus also tells Cassius, I've heard that you too have an itching palm to sell and mart your offices for gold to undeserves. And what that means is, Cassius, I heard that you also take bribes and you give men officer positions in the army if they pay you enough gold, and that's not very good. And Cassius, very offended, says, an itching palm, basically, how dare you call me greedy? How dare you say I'm taking bribes? If you were not Brutus, if you were anyone else saying that, I would kill you right now. And Brutus, just so sweetly, I just love him. He very naively says, don't you remember the Ides of March? He says, did not Julius bleed for justice's sake? He's saying, remember the Ides of March when we killed Julius Caesar? We were all being ethical and good then. We were all trying to find the good for Rome. We weren't trying to be self-serving or greedy or selfish. And it's funny and ironic because Brutus is the only one that was involved in the death of Julius Caesar who had the right motives. And so it's this very sad humor that he's telling Cassius, where is your mind gone? Why are you acting like that when, we just recently killed Julius Caesar for justice sake? He says, what villain touched his body that did stab and not for justice? Who stabbed him that didn't want good and to behave well and to be ethical? He says, what shall one of us that struck the foremost man of all this world but for supporting robbers shall we now contaminate our fingers with base bribes? He says, that did not contaminate us because we did it for the right reasons, but this, taking bribes, that will contaminate us. So let's stop, Cassius. And let's see how Cassius responds.
Brutus, bait not me. I'll not endure it. You forget yourself to hedge me in. I am a soldier, older in practice, abler than yourself to make conditions.
Go to, you are not, Cassius.
I am.
I say you are not.
Urge me no more, I shall forget myself. Have mind upon your health, tempt me no further.
Away, slight man.
It's possible.
Hear me, for I will speak. Must I give way at room to your rash choler? Shall I be frighted when a madman stares?
Oh, ye gods, must I endure all this?
All this I more, fret till your proud heart break. Go show your slaves how choleric you are, and make your bondmen tremble. Must I budge? Must I observe you? Must I stand and crouch under your testy humor? By the gods, you shall digest the venom of your spleen that would do split you. For from this day forth I'll use you for my mirth, yea, for my laughter when you are waspish.
Is it come to this?
You say you are a better soldier? Let it appear so. Make your vaunting true, and it shall please me well. For mine own part, I shall be glad to learn of noblemen.
You wrong me every way. You wrong me, Brutus. I said an elder soldier, not a better. Did I say better?
This part of the scene is actually very funny because they begin to argue, and of course the first thing that they're arguing about is taking bribes. Now Cassius says, I will not endure this. Oh, heaven, he summons the heavens to help him because he's so frustrated with Brutus, and he says, I am an older soldier, abler to make conditions. I'm able to make these decisions. I'm older. And Brutus just gets very frustrated, and he says, Cassius, you're being so rude, and I have to just bend to your will whenever you get in such a bad mood. They act like an old married couple, and it's very funny. Whenever you're in a bad mood, I just have to act however you want, and from now on, whenever you act like that, I'm just going to laugh about it. And Brutus says, and you think you're a better soldier? Then prove it. Let it appear so. And it shall please me well. For mine own part, I shall be glad to learn of noble men. And Cassius says, you wrong me in every way. You wrong me, Brutus. I said an elder soldier, not a better. Did I say better? And so they're arguing. I didn't say better. I said older. Gosh, get it right. And it's kind of humorous. So the second thing that they're fighting about, the first thing, of course, is the bribes. The second thing they're fighting about is who is the better soldier. Let's see what else they say.
Has it come to this?
You say you are a better soldier? Let it appear so. Make your vaunting true, and it shall please me well. For mine own part, I shall be glad to learn of noblemen.
You wrong me every way. You wrong me, Brutus. I said an elder soldier, not a better. Did I say better?
If you did, I care not.
When Caesar lived, he durst not thus have moved.
Peace, you durst not so have tempted him.
I durst not.
No.
What? Durst not tempt him?
For your life you durst not.
Do not presume too much upon my love. I may do that I shall be sorry for.
You have done that you should be sorry for. There is no terror, Cassius, in your threats. But I am armed so strong in honesty that they pass by me as the idle wind, which I respect not. I did send to you for certain sums of gold, which you denied me, for I can raise no money by vile means. By heaven, I had rather coin my heart and drop my blood for drachmas than to wring from the hard hands of peasants their vile trash by any indirection. I did send to you for gold to pay my legions, which you denied me. Was this done like Cassius? Should I have answered Caius Cassius so? When Marcus Brutus grows so covetous to lock such rascal counters from his friends, be ready, gods, with all your thunderbolts. Dash him to pieces.
Okay, this part is kind of ironic. Brutus is being a little bit of a hypocrite here. He is upset with Cassius for taking bribes and raising money for these armies by dishonest means, but he also is upset with Cassius for not sending him money. Brutus is upset that Brutus does not have any money. He says, Cassius, you know that what does he say? I had rather coin my heart. I can raise no money by vile means. I had rather coin my heart and drop my blood for drachmas than to wean from the hard hands of peasants for their vile trash by any indirection. So he knows that Cassius is going to be getting this money illegitimately and in a way that is not upright and appropriate, but he still wants Cassius to send him the money. Do you see the hypocrisy there? He says, Cassius, don't get money in a dishonest way, but don't stop sending me money. Well, you can't have it both ways, Brutus. And we will see what happens next with this fight when we get to part 2 of Act 4, Scene 3 of Julius Caesar.